Did he know he'd been given probation for it?
He said he's going to plead it.
We are talking about the arson case only. You pleaded guilty. You were placed on probation by this court. Is that true or not true?
I disagree.
We have received a report, the defendant now competent. You are allowed to represent yourself. You still have to follow all the rules. You are Mr. Weaver, present with your attorney, Mr. West, and the state's attorney. Does the defendant have a formal reading of this first amended motion to revoke probation? Can we proceed in summary?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
First thing is that Dr. Edward Hahn was appointed to evaluate the defendant for purposes of competency in this case. And we have received a report dated December 3rd, 2025, stating that the defendant is now competent to stand trial. Has everybody had a chance to review this? Are there any corrections or changes that you want to make?
Oh, no, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
Then it's called Court's Exhibit Number 1 on this statement, made a part of the record in this case for all purposes. And again, the finding is that the defendant is now competent to stand trial and proceed to a resolution of his legal issues, including this first amended motion to revoke probation. Raise your right hand, sir. Do you solemnly swear or affirm any statements you make during this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? You must speak out so she can hear you.
I know my rights, yes, sir.
That's not the answer to my question. You must speak out so she can hear you.
I know my rights. Yes, I
Thank
do
you.
agree to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Don't be rude, sir. All right. Does the defendant waive a formal reading of this? Can we proceed in summary?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
In summary, this motion alleges that on May 6, 2024, in this court, you were sentenced to 10 years in prison, probated for 10 years for the second-degree felony of arson. Is that true? I'm asking you.
Did you get
Is that true?
Please repeat the question, Your Honor. I have the right to remain silent.
All right, we're setting this for a hearing. All right, that's enough. We'll set it. I want it this afternoon. Y'all ready to? Is that possible?
I can be. I don't know about it's all that's right.
This is foolishness.
We picked a jury second.
No, but we generally can finish pretty quickly. But
All right.
as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yay.
We want to. You can leave now, sir. You're being rude. And you were here with Mr. West, your attorney.
No, Your Honor. I'm being removed as.
Oh, that's right. That's right. He's going to represent himself.
Yes, yes.
And Mr. West is sitting by. He is there for you to refer to at any time you want. But you, Mr. Weaver, are insisting to represent yourself in this, correct?
If it pleases the court.
All right. It does. Even though you are allowed to represent yourself, you still have to follow all the rules that all judges and lawyers have to follow. I've talked to you a little bit about that. You've had a chance to think about it. Is it your insistence to continue to wish and represent yourself at this hearing? That's what you want. You've thought about it, and this is
Yes, sir.
okay. Do you need any additional time to think about it?
I do not.
Okay, we'll move forward then. All right. There is a first amended motion to revoke probation, sir. It states that on May 6th, 2024, in this, you, Robert Leon Weaver, was sentenced to 10 years in prison, and that was suspended, and you were placed on regular probation for 10 years for the second-degree felony of arson. Is that true or not true?
I disagree.
You disagree. Okay, you can do that, and the state has the obligation to prove. Allegation 3 states you failed to report to the Jefferson County Community Supervision and Corrections Department, the probation, in other words, the probation department. It says failed to report since you were placed on probation on May 6th, 2024. You never reported to probation May 6th, 2024, which is over a year and a half.
Is that true or untrue?
With my affidavit being used solely to prosecute or
No, is it true or untrue?
that is untrue.
Okay, that's entered into the record untrue. That's all you need to say. The obligation is on the state of Texas to prove these allegations.
The likelihood that you'll be able to run a background check statewide, nationwide, worldwide, without my Texas Department of Transportation number, Texas license number, which is not on the card, correct?
It's not on the card, no.
It's not.
No, it is not.
Is that why you said you were going to take the fingerprints from me so that you could run a background check with my your fault?
No, sir.
Anything else?
What is a probability with today's technological advancement that a fingerprint could be impersonated by possibly plastic or an engraving? Is that possible?
Are you asking, can the fingerprint be copied into a plastic or into some type of engraving?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's possible.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay, go ahead.
Can I have that in layman's terms, investigator, please, sir, what was just said, please, sir? We state that in layman's terms so that the court and everybody may understand.
We all, the court understands. The court understands.
What the cause 24 and 38, 26 for.
At any time, sir, remember, you can ask Mr. West to help you if you are misunderstanding anything, but go ahead, ask him.
The number that you refer to is,
Okay.
yes,
Go.
Please state it in layman's terms so I understand. I don't know every penal code in the book. You know what that penal code is pertaining to. Is it arson?
Hey, John, you want
Am I
to?
being charged with another crime?
sir, I do not know what other crime you'd be charged with. As far as the paperwork that was provided to me, the number represents the cause number that is filed with the court and the district clerk in reference to the case that you previously had.
You're referring to the arson?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I believe so.
This is, just to clarify, Mr. Weaver, we are talking about the arson case only. The case of arson for which you pleaded guilty, for which you were placed on probation by this court.
Yes, sir.
That's all we're talking about.
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead. That's the issue.
Okay, yes, sir. I was not on my correct medications because I was driven away at gunpoint from not only City Hall, where I may have gotten identification, or Baptist Hospital, or Genoa Spindletop on Washington 8 near the scene of the crime.
Okay. All right, just ask him some questions. If you want to take the stand and testify, you can do that here in a minute, but this is just the time to ask him any questions that you may want concerning what this witness had his involvement in. And it was just for fingerprint
Comparison on, Judge.
for the matters that he's testified to. Did you have any other questions for him?
We do agree, though, that that can be an engraving and it can be impersonated and possibly applied as false document. In this case, it can, correct? And
Were you able to answer that?
No, sir.
He doesn't understand.
we already answered that.
Okay. Anything else from this man?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, you are excused, sir.
Thanks, sir.
May 23rd, 2025, and then again on August 28th, 2025.
Were you able to communicate with him?
Yes, I did speak with him.
Okay. Speaking with him is one thing. Were you able to communicate? Were you able to talk to him and was he able to understand what was going on?
It was very difficult communicating with him because it seemed like he was very incoherent. He would say things like he didn't know he was on probation, he would put a time on him. He said that he was under psychotropics. He didn't believe that he should be here in Beaumont.
So he knew that he had been charged with arson. Is that correct?
Yes,
He knew did he know he'd been given probation for it? Or did he say he'd been acquitted of it?
he said he's been acquitted.
He also knew he was on medication. Is that correct? Did he say he was not taking his medication or he was taking his meds? Or do you remember? He just said he had those meds.
Yes,
Okay. So to this date, besides in jail, have you ever seen this gentleman to my right in your probation office?
No.
Has he ever contacted you or called your probation office? And if you talk to him, are you sure this is the same Robert Weaver due to all the arrests and things that were going on, that this is the same one that was placed on probation?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. How are you today?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm here in jail bound. How far is it from Jefferson County facility to your office of police probation community supervision? How far would that be?
I would say approximately an hour's worth of walk, maybe about 5 miles.
Okay, so it'd be more like 2 hours at a brisk pace.
Probably so.
Okay. And can you recall any of the things about my vacation or impersonating the false identification?
I don't recall.
You just asked me a question. I had been on my medication, off my medication, or if we had discussed it, and that I'm over 21 and single, correct? Am I not? You're my probation officer, correct?
I am.
I'm over 21 and I'm single, correct?
I'm not sure of that, sir. I don't know.
Nothing, correct?
Nothing further? You are excused, ma'am. Thank you.
I'm from Dallas, Texas, and apparently I had lost my medication on vacation to New Orleans, passing through on the Greyhound bus back to Dallas. I was raw, so I did not have my medication. I went to City Hall,
Which city hall?
Beaumont,
Oh, okay.
and tried to register myself. And I was driven away at gunpoint by a police force in Beaumont while looking for occupational job. I was looking for a job. I was asked to leave churches, restaurants. Somehow my personal information had been made public, although my probation officer does not know that I'm over 21 or things, and she does not know that I have lost my medication. I was driven away from the hospital. I'll get my prescription filled. It involved me taking a victim stance, Your Honor. I was a victim in this case, and the fire was accidental. Even though my constitutional right to life, liberty, and happiness in the pursuit thereof was infringed upon, I was in fear for my life, sir. My welfare check was stolen. My food stamps card was stolen. My health benefits were stolen. I had no right to know would not offer me any help. I could not return to that. There was nothing I could do. It became bitter cold in the tropics, ranging from 109 degrees to negative 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I was in fear for my life.
At what point in time? What date are we talking about?
Between the dates of
You mean when this crime was committed? When this fire occurred? Is that what you're talking about?
on May 3rd, 2023, when I had my disability check set up and I took vacation money to New Orleans. The big easy service called and I lost my medication somehow. And I came to Beaumont, went to City Hall, went to the hospital, was admitted in the psychiatric and family was gone. I believe I stayed there for several weeks. As far as the arson and the conviction, it would have been a tragedy in my life, a tragedy for me to die at such a young age with actually no legitimate health risk because of hypothermia. It would have been a tragedy to my family. I do not have any aggravated cases that I've been convicted of in my 50s, almost 51 years on this earth. I'm not in family.
I'm looking at the post-sentence report. It states that you were in 2005. You were sentenced to 120 days in jail for assault on a public servant, and Dallas County. In 2011, you were placed on 2 years deferred or unadjudicated probation in Dallas County for delivery of a controlled substance. Then in 2018, you were placed on 3 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for assault on a public servant in Dallas County, Texas. And these are all felony offenses. Also, let me finish. On August 27th, 2018, you were also placed on 3 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for attempting to take a weapon from an officer, a police officer in Dallas County, Texas. And in this case, so you have been placed on probation.
If I may rebut.
Hold on. It looks like the 120 days jail in 2005, but that may have been a misdemeanor. But it's classified under the felony court history. Then you were on 2 years deferred or unadjudicated for probation for delivery of a controlled substance, 3 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for assault on a public servant, 3 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for attempting to take a weapon from a peace officer. This case is a final conviction where you were sentenced to 10 years in prison, and that was suspended and you were placed on regular probation. I'm looking at your adult. I'm not putting it into the record. In your misdemeanor, I'm looking at 11 separate misdemeanor convictions where you were sentenced to jail time since 1996 through 2018. And these were included convictions, violation of a protective order out of Dallas County, violation of a protective order in Dallas County, evading arrest or detention in Dallas County, driving while license invalid in Dallas County, criminal mischief, Dallas County, and illegal possession of marijuana, Dallas County, obstructing or resisting an executive officer out of Sacramento, California, then shoplifting in Denver County, Colorado, 3 days jail, 12 months probation, assault out of Denver County, where you received 85 days jail in 2017, and assault family violence, 150 days jail out of Dallas County in 2018. 11 misdemeanor convictions along with your 5 felony dispositions, which include this regular probation of arson. So that's your criminal history. That was part of the post-sentence report.
Dallas County Jail, Lewis County Jail, and Frank County Court has ruled that there is a conspiracy against my life by the drug cartel and other people. Some of the times, these officers did not speak English and were not citizens of our country. Other times, like the 2 protective orders, I was not aware that my ex-girlfriend had a protective
Wait, hold on. On that first part, where there's threats to your life, what documentation do you have to support that?
No, the conspiracy.
None. Oh, okay.
It's in Texas Department of Corrections.
Okay.
That the drug cartel has a conspiracy. The drug case was under the land of cocaine. I sat for 2 years, 8 days in county jail as far as the attempt to remove a firearm from an officer. He pulled a gun on me when I was in a restaurant. He asked me to leave. I said, yes, sir. I hadn't eaten that day. I simply went there to eat. I was in the bathroom. He did not speak English, so I asked him to put his gun down. And he tased me anyway. So when the blue and white showed up, as I was leaving, he tased me while I was leaving the store. Blue and white showed up, and the taser was under my body there inside of the restaurant. So I did approximately 4 years on that one, or I'm not sure. And then that was the Trump administration. I was impersonated poorly.
You were what?
Impersonated poorly, and some of these findings against me, some of those criminal convictions were the people impersonating me poorly, Your Honor.
Anything else?
I am a psychiatric patient who deserves to be given an opportunity to go to a psychiatric hospital, as well as a doctor's order, doctor of law, and a doctor of law, Your Honor.
right. Anything else? No. If nothing further, I'm going to find that there is sufficient evidence supporting this first amended motion to revoke probation to grant it by a preponderance of the evidence or greater, as allegation 3 has been proven true, as the defendant failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office as directed. He was placed on probation on May 6th, 2024, and did not report thereafter as required. Thus, I find the defendant has violated his probation. This motion to revoke probation is granted by a preponderance of the evidence or greater. Court has revoked your probation of 10 years in this case, and you are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 3 years. Restitution will be ordered on the judgment because the victim here lost the value of the vehicle. That will be ordered as a part of the judgment, and hopefully you can somehow do something to pay that back so that the victim can be placed whole again for the harm you had been found to have voluntarily and knowingly caused in this case. Do your best to fix this. The sentence of 3 years is what this court finds is fair and appropriate under the circumstances of this case. Do you understand what has happened today, sir?
Yes, sir.
Anything else?
Yeah.
If not, we are in recess.